Hello, future grammar nerds. Today I'm going to talk about a category of mistakes called modifier mistakes. So modifiers are words that modify other words, usually adjectives or adverbs. Sometimes it could be a small group of words, a phrase. So here's an example of what happens when you put it accidentally in the wrong spot. So the mistake would be the bus ran into a tree. So far, so good. But now we're going to add on a phrase to modify that, which is like to add extra information, which was full of people. So that sounds a little strange. Because we have the which coming right after tree, it sounds like there were a lot of people in the tree that was hit. But logically, I think it was probably the bus that was full of people. So the modifier is just in the wrong spot. If you instead move that to be closer to the bus, to put it right here, it would be very clear that it refers to the bus and not the tree. So which was full of people. So I'm going to put commas on both sides of that extra information. The bus, which was full of people, ran into a tree that probably didn't have any people in it at all. So one word that is tricky in sentences, because it can change the meaning depending where you put it, is the word only. So you can put it in many different spots. So for example, you could say at the beginning, okay, only I wish Duncan had been the winner. All right? So that's the first possibility. Only I, so nobody else. So it modifies the I here. So not anybody else, just I. I'm the only one who wishes that. Right? If we put it a little bit later, I only wish Duncan had been the winner. All right? So now it's a different meaning. So now only is modifying wish. So the only thing that I wish is that Duncan had been the winner. Okay? So there's another possibility. We can put it after. So I can say, I wish, I wish, oops, I'll fix that. I wish only Duncan had been the winner. So now, what do you think it modifies? So it modifies Duncan. So I wish that Duncan was the only winner. I wish it was only Duncan and nobody else won as well. And one more way I can put it even further. I wish Duncan had been the only winner, which is similar. So the only winner means the only one to win. So a dangling modifier is a type of modifier mistake. So when you have a dangling modifier, dangling is kind of like hanging. So it's not properly attached to the rest of the sentence. So an example of that, it's usually when you start off with a phrase that doesn't actually have the subject of the sentence in it. So not a clause, just a phrase. Like, for example, taped to the wall. It's just a phrase in introducing the sentence, but we don't yet know what is taped to the wall. And then we have the main part of the sentence, the clause. Margaret read the note. So this sounds very strange because the first part here, the phrase, because it doesn't have its own subject, the reader automatically assumes that the first subject mentioned in the main part is the one who did this as well. So that means that in the sentence, Margaret is taped to the wall. Now, I'm assuming that in writing this sentence, the writer wanted to say that the note was taped to the wall. So how do we correct it? We have to change something so that these two go together. So we could say, taped to the wall, the note, something, but a note doesn't really do very much. So maybe we should change the beginning part to something that Margaret could do. So how about like noticing? Margaret could notice it, right? So we could say noticing something taped to the wall Margaret read the note. It's not a very concise sentence now, but we have corrected the dangling modifier because now with this phrase, the noticing is done by the subject of the main part. So now it's correct. Another example could be oozing, slimy, oozing across the floor. John mopped up the mess. So this is a dangling modifier because the oozing here that we don't know in the phrase who did it. So we assume that John is the one who oozed across the floor. So you'd have to add in something there that John could do, or else make the subject here whatever was oozing across the floor. Like oozing across the floor, oozing across the floor, the mess, or the spill or the coffee, engulfed John. Oh no.